Okay, let's talk about Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm not really a fan of the argument that they shouldn't be making movies for a franchise anymore just because the fandom is not as excited about it anymore. I walked into a movie theater and the the trailer had just dropped. And so it was my first time seeing it and I was just standing there watching it and just a smile was just spreading across my face and I'm like, "Oh, I've got to see this." Now, Jurassic World is the only one out of all of them that I've seen in theaters, at least when it was originally released. When Fallen Kingdom came out, I knew that there was a scene where some dinosaurs got hurt, and I knew it was going to make me cry. So I avoided Fallen Kingdom and Dominion for that reason. I finally got around to watching them. I was pretty happy with both of them. So with Jurassic World Rebirth, I did have pretty high expectations. For as long as I can remember, this is probably the most excited that I have ever been for a movie release. That being said, when I watched the movie, I was definitely disappointed. But I say all that to point out, like, when you build something up in your mind, some level of disappointment is kind of on you. So I really did kind of walk in there going like, this is going to be the best one in the series. And that's on me. But in all fairness, I think there were also quite a few issues. So the plot of this movie is that these group of get-rich-quick adventurers are on a mission to go to the island to get blood from dinosaurs in order to create a cure for heart disease. One thing I think that this movie really got right was the characters. I really did like the characters. There are a few who are annoying, but they're kind of like meant to be the annoying characters. You're gonna have some of that in any movie. I liked the pacing of the movie. I felt like it's not a snooze fest. I've heard a few people call it a snooze fest. It's not a snooze fest. The pacing was fine. The plot was good. It didn't feel too forced. It didn't feel like they were kind of grasping at straws to make it work. And I would say that even as I started to feel disappointed in the movie, I still stayed engaged pretty much the whole time. So I will give them credit for those things. They got the plot right, they got the characters right, and they kept the engagement up. But I think my biggest problem is a lot of the character development dialogue throughout the movie. Now that I've had like about a week to kind of digest my own thoughts on this movie, I'm kind of torn on some of my own initial criticisms. So one thing I strongly criticize is throughout this movie, there's several points where there's some back and forth between these characters about what they actually do with this cure when they have it. The initial plan is that they're going to get it, they're going to patent it, they're going to sell it, they're going to make trillions of dollars. You know, it's going to save a bunch of lives, but they're going to get rich. That's really the motivation here, is that they're going to get rich. And of course, there's that one good-hearted guy that's got to be like, well, what if we just gave it to everyone? What if it wasn't about profit? Which, okay, I'm not saying that that's not a good conversation to have, but here's the thing, okay? I am a citizen of the United States of America. When I go to watch a movie, I am really not interested in having all these questions about how much our healthcare system sucks thrown in my face. Okay, I'm here to be entertained, so entertain me. I just really didn't like having to think about that kind of political issue when I'm trying to watch a movie. Like, your job as a movie is to entertain me. But you could also argue that those kind of moral dilemma conversations have been a part of this franchise from the beginning. So, in hindsight, while it did very much frustrate me while I was watching the movie, I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's a plot point that should have been removed. Because at the end of the day, for one thing, it teaches you more about these characters through these conversations in terms of where they stand on this and what they think of it, etc. So it serves a purpose in terms of character development, and it also presents another moral dilemma for the characters to be discussing, besides the only thing they're discussing is, should dinosaurs have been brought back? Should they be here? Are we obligated to preserve them? All this other stuff. My next criticism, I think I am going to stand by, though, and that is this idea that people are over the dinosaurs. People don't care about the dinosaurs anymore. They're old news, they're has-beens, whatever. If dinosaurs were brought back, the novelty would eventually wear off because at some point it's not going to be new anymore. I get that. But I don't think the wonder would necessarily wear off. You know, how amazed would I be if I had an opportunity to safely be close to a bear or a tiger These animals have been around forever. People still like to go look at them. People still are curious about these animals and want to see them. Now, do they draw massive crowds? Maybe not, but the interest and the wonder and the respect for that beauty and their abilities and their power is still there. It's almost like the franchise is making fun of their own audience at this point. Let me explain to you why I'm watching your stupid movie. It's because it's got dinosaurs, bro. It's for the dinosaurs, okay? I am not here, bless her heart, for Scarlett Johansson. I'm not here for any of these blokes. Okay, I'm not. I am here for the dinosaurs. Learn something about your own fandom. I just really hated that being a sentiment in this movie. They're wondrous creatures. Why can't y'all just let us have that instead of basically making fun of us for it? And in all fairness, there's really just a couple of remarks at the beginning of the movie, but throughout the whole movie, that was just in the back of my mind how much that irritated me. There are so many dinosaurs that are just amazing, and just I can't imagine the feeling I would have if I got to see them in person. That kind of wonder and excitement is what made this franchise such a massive success to begin with. Do we really need to crap on the fans that made it such a success? Then there's the kills. I don't know the exact kill count. I'm sure there are plenty of videos you can see comparing the kill count in each movie. Realistically, you're not going to have like 6, 7, or whatever it was at the end come out of something like this alive. So I think I can deal with a high kill count because I think that it's very realistic for this type of environment where dinosaurs are loose and we're trying to walk through that environment. But I do think some of the kills are just way too clean. Like, I get that you're trying to keep this family friendly. I get that you're trying to keep this in the PG to PG-13 range. A lot of parts of the fandom say we'd like to see at least some rated R versions. I don't know if I'd go quite that far, but like, it seems like you can still keep it PG-13 without making the kills quite this clean. Like, we're talking about folks who are getting eaten alive and ripped to shreds here, folks. Is this really a bloodless event? And yes, I realize there are a few blood in the water moments, but like, there'd still be way more than that. Like, be realistic. Another thing that disappointed me in this movie was the graphics. The Mosasaur, for example, was supposed to be the same one we've seen in the previous movies, and the design of it was just very different. Don't play with us like that. Please don't do that. The Spinosauruses, which I was so enthralled by in Jurassic Park 3, so enthralled by, just did not look good. I just didn't think it was very good CGI. If there's one dinosaur I would like to see more of in this franchise, it would probably be the Spinosaurus. But I mean Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. The ones in this one, just, it's almost like I can't put my finger on it. For one thing, they were way smaller. So were they like Spinosaurus younglings? I'm not quite sure what I was looking at, and that really bothered me. Because that's probably my favorite in the whole series. So I was just very disappointed by that. I really didn't like the fact that the Spinosauruses were chasing them, and a bunch of them just kind of fall off and stop. Like, that just doesn't really make sense to me. It's not like once they reached land, they were safe. The Spinosaurus can go on land. So that seemed a little bit cheap to me. One scene that gets praised by a lot of fans is the T-Rex raft scene. So this was something that was in the original book that was cut from the original movie. So when fans found out that this was going to be part of this movie, they kind of went crazy for it. The end result, I think, was decent. As far as like what happens in the scene and the intensity of it all, don't get me wrong. Fantastic scene from that perspective. The CGI on the T-Rex was pretty good. So I don't think it looked bad, but when it turned around, like, the back end and the tail looked a little bit small to me in compared to the rest of the size of its body. I haven't noticed anybody else. I've looked up so many comments about the particular scene, and no one else has kind of made that. So maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just being too picky, or expecting something different, or comparing too much to previous T-Rexes that we've seen. I think that may really be what it is. That just kind of stood out to me. But at one point, the T-Rex picks up the life raft in its mouth, an inflatable life raft, and it doesn't pop. Like, why should we even run from a T-Rex at all if it can't pop an inflatable life raft? Like, be so for real right now. Be so for real. I can suspend my belief when it comes to things like, we use mosquitoes to bring back the dinosaurs. I'm not suspending my belief that sharp things don't pop inflatable things. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. I refuse. Another thing, I was pretty excited when I saw the Dilophosaurus in the trailer. It's on screen for about 2 seconds. It's on screen for about 2 seconds. What the hell? Now, to my understand, there is an extended version. I don't know when that will be released, so maybe we see a little bit more of that. But like, what was even the point? What? Why? 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 Who made that decision? Who made that call? Who made that decision? Why would you do something like that? That's nuts. Very upset. Very upset about that situation. Another thing, velociraptors. Now, I will say there is a significant part of this fandom that is like, okay, velociraptors have been given way too much attention. I get that. I really do. I love the velociraptors. They're probably my favorite. If I have to choose a favorite, it's probably going to be the velociraptors. They're so freaking cool. But if you're going to show them at all, you got to make it look good. Velociraptors get like 5 to 10 seconds of screen time and they're killed, and it's in the background. It's not even like something that anybody would like. Why are you showing us this? It's the most random thing. I support the right of studios and screenwriters and all these people who make movies to make whatever the hell they want to make, but make it a story that is good and make it entertaining. Like, your job as a movie is to entertain me. So when you're putting in random things that are going to either piss off your audience or distract them and just serve no real purpose, that's a waste of my time. I really, really did not like that. And then there's the fact that we saw dinosaurs and mutant dinosaurs. Now, we've seen mutant dinosaurs in this franchise before, but it's kind of worked a little bit better in those examples, in my opinion. And it also did not distract from showing us the actual dinosaurs. And in this movie, there's something called a D-Rex. I'm sure I could look up what that stands for. I don't care, because this was a very annoying animal to me. The biggest criticism a lot of people have for this dinosaur, this mutant dinosaur, is the design. It is basically a mix between the Rancor from Star Wars and Alien. So I think if you're going to make a mutant dinosaur and you're going to put it on screen in a Jurassic World movie, you just need to bring us something a little bit more original than that. Just about any of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies, I have felt something too. I have had some type of response to what I'm seeing. Maybe I'm rooting for this velociraptor because they're trying to kill a character I don't like, or feeling sorry for a triceratops that's in a cage. D-Rex gave me nothing. D-Rex, I really had just no real response to, other than not liking the design. That was pretty much the only opinion I had. Beyond that, it was just kind of whatever. Like, I'm watching this movie for dinosaurs. What the hell am I looking at? And then also, I think we're also asked to, again, suspend our belief a little bit too much. For example, at the end, the D-Rex is able to successfully just grab a helicopter out of the sky and just bite down on it. As if the blades would not hurt it. Like, I'm not saying something that big couldn't do some serious fatal damage to a helicopter. Of course it could. I just don't think it could have been done in the way it was presented in this movie. You also have another scene at the end that just doesn't make any sense, where Duncan tries to save everybody and basically chases this D-Rex away from other people, and he's out of sight, and it seems like he doesn't make it, and then he just comes back. He just comes back, just by magic. And I really don't like that. If you're going to give us something that seems like it's not plausible, give us some type of explanation for it. And we didn't get that. And so it's like, he's a great character, and like, part of me is happy that he lived, but like, it needed to make sense that he lived, and it just didn't. And then at the beginning of the movie, you have the scene with the D-Rex. I will say the one thing I liked about the D-Rex scene at the beginning is the way the red faded to the Jurassic World logo. I thought that looked awesome as hell. The music that was playing at that point was absolutely on point. That was amazing. But the opening scene with the D-Rex, let's talk about that for a minute. So these guys are suited up, they're going in to see the D-Rex. You really can't see back into, like, we don't really know anything about how this enclosure works beyond just the first like 2 sliding doors. So I don't like the fact that there was really no setup for this. But basically, the one guy, as he's about to pull his mask down and be fully suited up to enter this area, a Snickers bar wrapper falls from his mouth. And it gets into the door, and it jams the door. And that's how the T-Rex escapes, and he himself ends up trapped in there with it. And that is the first kill of the movie. This one seemed to have fans pretty divided because it's like, on the one hand, there were those making the argument that this was an example of chaos theory. That even if you've done something multiple times, you never know when something random could basically make things go a different way. That's a horrible explanation of what chaos theory is. Please listen to someone more intelligent than me if you want more information on that. But then you had people who kind of feel more like me, who are like, okay, how flawed was this design if a candy wrapper can take it down? That's the first thing, which I mean is kind of a recurring theme of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. You think you have control over these creatures and you don't. You think you have control over creating life and you don't. So it's not an irrelevant plot point, and it is appropriate for a Jurassic World movie, don't get me wrong. But for me, the bigger issue with that scene was these guys should know, these guys should be properly trained, that you can't have foreign objects around these doors and around these enclosures. If you have to suit up for something, someone should not have to explain, hey, no foreign objects. So if you drop a candy wrapper, your first instinct before you go inside anywhere, before you open any door, should be, oh, better get this foreign object out of this area. And I mean, I don't think there was any point to make you feel sorry for this character. I think the audience was kind of supposed to go, okay, he did something dumb. Now the dinosaur is going to kill him. I'm sorry, the mutant dinosaur is going to kill him. But I also just I wasn't really sure what I was supposed to think or react to that scene. It just seemed like a poor open to the movie and to this introduction to this new creature. Don't get me wrong, the intensity and everything was there. I just didn't really care for it all that much. And then let's talk about the family that these people rescue. So these adventurers come across a mayday call while they are out on their way to the island and end up rescuing this family that was stranded. And a lot of folks felt like this family was just a total distraction from the rest of the movie. There were some things I didn't like, but if I had a chance to rewrite the script, I probably would not remove the family completely. I just might have changed a few things that they said, maybe. Because I do like the idea of there being multiple groups on this island with different agendas. This family does not care about getting blood, making money off of a cure. They just want to get back to safety. They just want to get back to home. That is their goal. They have completely separate goals than this other group. I think that's perfectly fine. I think it's good to have different groups with different agendas in a Jurassic World movie. So I don't really have a problem with that. And I don't like the argument of, oh, this personality type, this type of person is annoying. Because half the complaints for a lot of these movies is, well, this is unrealistic. Okay, what's unrealistic about the existence of annoying characters or stupid characters? I've never liked that argument. And honestly, I really don't think the scenes with the family are that bad. I really don't. The only thing that I did not like was this kid Isabella keeps finding herself in danger, and it's like the dad is more focused on the older sister who kind of knows what she's doing and doesn't seem to need to be watched. But the 7 or 8 year old girl, yeah, let's just turn our back on her every couple seconds so she can find herself in more danger and more trouble. That's a good idea. That was more the part I didn't like. I'm not going to blame the kid for getting themselves into a sticky situation. They're a kid, but like, the dad has seen her in danger and just keeps letting her get in danger. Like, you gonna wake up there, bud? I can't. So I do stand by some of my initial criticisms of this movie. The graphics could have been better. The plot could have been better. There's plenty of things that could have been improved on the dialogue, like the healthcare debate. I really don't care to hear about all that when I'm trying to enjoy a movie. The last thing that I'm going to criticize about this movie is the bad guy. He was such a cartoon. I don't even remember his name, which I probably should have looked it up before I started filming. It's whatever. Like, you kind of know from the beginning that he's going to be the villain in this movie, and it's just there's a couple moments that kind of reveal that his dark side, and it's so, I'm not blaming the actor. I thought his acting was fine, and I'm sure this was what he was directed to do, but it just felt so cartoonish. Especially at the end, he pulls a gun and he's going to take the cure for himself and make the money himself and leave everybody else there and escape himself. And of course, that plan doesn't work out. Like, first of all, you could see it coming from a million miles away before it happened. And I don't like something being quite that predictable. But just like his mannerisms and the way he held the gun and just the way I felt like I was watching a cartoon. It just wasn't believable to me. If you have not seen this movie and you are a massive Jurassic Park, Jurassic World fan and you're kind of on the fence because of all these things that you've heard about the movie, I would encourage you to go check it out for yourself. Don't let critics tell you whether or not you want to continue to be a part of a fandom. I do think it's worth a watch, just did not meet expectations. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with the next movie in a few years. I was initially going to give this 2.5 stars out of 5. After careful consideration, I am willing to give it 3 out of 5 stars. I think I was just a little bit overly harsh just because I was so disappointed, but the only reason I was so disappointed to begin with is because I built this up in my head so much before I saw it. I was so excited. And don't get me wrong, it's cool to be excited about a movie, but like, I think I just mentally went into the theater expecting this to be like the greatest movie I'd ever seen. And it's just having that expectation is not realistic. And when it comes to Jurassic Park in general, I say this as a millennial and I might be about to hurt some feelings here. But here's the thing. So I am 35 years old. I was born in 1990. I don't remember when I saw Jurassic Park for the first time, but I was still very much a kid. So for those of you who feel like this does not capture that feeling of excitement and wonder that you felt when you watched Jurassic Park 1 and 2, I hate to be the one to say this, but that's because you were a child. You were capable of more wonder and excitement at the time, especially at seeing something like dinosaurs on screen because of your age. And I can understand appreciating the nostalgia, but the thing is, you're expecting these other movies to give you that same feeling at 34 years old, 38 years old, 40 years old. I'm sorry, but that's a really big ask. And I just don't think this movie or the next couple of movies are going to be able to do that for you. You can appreciate what Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 2 gave to you, while also recognizing that while some of these other movies might be fun, they're giving you something different. So for those who have the complaint that it doesn't give them that same nostalgic sense of wonder and excitement that they felt when they were a kid, I just wish you would kind of take that into consideration. Keep your expectations realistic. And that is all I have for this video. If you enjoyed this video, have this video, or even just a quarter of this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. I am going to be going over the other movies for all 3 Jurassic Parks, all 3 Jurassic Worlds at some point. A lot of what I'm talking about on my channel is solely politics, and this is kind of the perfect break from that, because I do have quite a bit to say about these beautiful dinosaur movies.